戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is March 18th, 2026. We are live to tape on episode 924. And today, exploding PSY SLOP. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil. And you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit films and author of Archetypalism, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It's Wednesday.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. Time for Canary Crime News Talk. Yeehaw!
And it's National Awkward Moments Day for all you awkward people out there. Stay awkward. How long will Basil play into the awkward silence?
I got you. I win. I'm the winner of the awkward contest.
I didn't know we were.
I just had to get you back for last time.
Okay, yeah.
But I think, a little moment of silence at the beginning of the show. It's like, I think there could be some good psychological benefits to that now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But will we ever do it again? Probably not. Why? Because it's too awkward. But it is Wednesday. I can sense the surge of joy throughout the audience as the Wednesday jingle plays, and the nonsense just continues, Gonz. It's so fun. It's so fun to just live in a world that, again, seems to be like on some sort of skipping record. You know the phrase from, I think it was True Detective, where Matthew McConaughey says, "Time is a flat circle." You remember the time is a flat circle?
I actually don't know it from the movie reference. I know it from you saying it at some point.
Time is a flat circle, baby.
Which
is a great line because everybody loves to use the line, especially like, kind of fringy conspiracy people, folk.
Yeah.
But it's also like, what exactly does that mean? Like, what is a flat circle? Like, how does that, what's even the point? And the point was a record, and a skipping record being confusing. It feels like the record is kind of skipping, and it makes me wonder, what's the actual timeline? How long does it take for the record to go around? I think we're sitting at about maybe 10 years. Wherever we are on the record, it takes about 10 years to make a full rotation, and then there's a little skip, and then suddenly we get to relive all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. But also, the fact that we've been seeing so much of the mainstream reporting of just straight up 100% like fringe conspiracy theory stories. But, of course, now, because it's the mainstream, they're not conspiracy theories anymore. I'm getting tired of being right. Kind of like how Donald Trump, you're going to be so tired of winning. And, I don't think people are tired of winning yet. I think they would love to know what that feels like first before they get tired of it. But
yeah, the golden age has been golden for the elite. I mean, I don't know about the rest of us.
Right. Tired of being right about everything. So,
yeah.
It's kind of fun though. I feel like there's benefit to us and especially our longtime listeners to see these things come to fruition. However, I do want to give a shout out because Sir Ike, of course, is doing the supply drop mega box giveaway for those who are doing giving us ratings and reviews. And some of our most recent ratings and reviews that have come in over at Apple Podcasts have been from people who sort of explicitly mention that they've only been listening for like a year or so. I kind of forget sometimes that there are technically new people. I mean, I like to think that I keep it in mind. But let's see, who is this from? 5 stars from Stony Yapper 84 says, I've been listening to these guys for about a year now. There aren't many channels like this giving you the information from a biblical worldview. Their shows are full of not only interesting, but essential information. If it weren't for these guys and other channels like them, I would still be what I consider blind. It's also very well produced. And another fellow said he's been listening for a couple years. Who is this? Jaquel H07, another 5 stars, if I do say so myself, says, I have been listening to these guys for a couple years now, and I greatly appreciate all of their hard work and dedication to their podcast. I also greatly appreciate that they are listener funded. I've learned so much from them and look forward to listening to them every week. They're my most trusted news source. Thanks, Basil and Gons. Thank you very much, Jacques H07.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I love hearing from the people. That it's good feedback for us, not just for not like an ego thing. It's just we need feedback.
Well,
sometimes it feels like we're just screaming into the void. Because we are just
morale
into microphones.
Yeah,
the morale.
Got to keep the morale high around here. So these ratings and reviews help very much. But, I was trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who's maybe, a little newer to the show, maybe a little newer to, in their words, not be blind. And I think it's very valuable because we're highlighting the different ways that the mainstream is started to report on all the craziest stuff. We've got a few of those stories today. It's very fun. And so obviously, lots of new people are coming into the fold, right?
Right.
I think there's a value, and I'm not sure if this value is being provided many other places, but there's a value to sort of ushering new people into the fact that all the crazy stuff they're being bombarded with right now through the mainstream, it's been around. Like we've talked about it. It's a part of the zeitgeist. It's part of our culture around here. And so hopefully it kind of calms the shock of it maybe a little bit. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, no, that's a good description. There's the famous Robert Jastrow quote, who is a NASA scientist and founder of the Goddard Institute for Space Studies. And the quote goes like this: for the scientist who has lived by his faith in the power of reason, the story ends like a bad dream. He scales the mountain of ignorance, and when he reaches the top, he is met by a band of theologians. But in this case, he's met by a band of conspiracy theorists, including your friends Basil and Gons. So yeah, I think that's maybe what's happening is, there are people out there keeping track of the situation, and then they
Monitoring.
inevitably they're monitoring the situation,
Monitoring the situation.
and they're finding conspiracy theorists have been sitting there for a long time. Which reminds me, of course, Sean Ryan, our favorite intelligence podcast, was hiring. I don't know what's going on with the podcast world, but it looks like Benny Johnson. He's another one of these show podcaster guys. I don't know if he's an intelligence guy, but Benny Johnson also, I'm hiring. And here are the requirements, okay? Here are the requirements for getting hired or being considered for the Benny Johnson show. Monitoring the situation. That's the first thing. The second thing, terminally online.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Number 3, locked into the news cycle. Functional at AI prompts. Can read and write. I think he should just hire us. I think he should just, bring us into the field.
He's basically describing the average male Gen Zer there.
Sure.
I think that's what it is, which is that's a good secret way to say, hey, we need some young employees here because we, can't pay top dollar, but also we recognize that it takes the sort of terminally online sort of polymarket native to help craft the kind of content that we need.
Yeah.
I get it. I would not mind if somebody who fit those qualifications wanted to join the team. I don't think we could pay you anything, but we could certainly give you lots of things to do.
Yeah, they would be producers of the show. That would be there.
That's true. I'm under the impression, and I might be wrong, I'm under the impression that our maybe average listener is not necessarily terminally online and isn't necessarily monitoring the situation. I could be wrong, but at least from the ones who, I generally talk to, like on Canary Cry Clubhouse, I talk to listeners every week. People who send us whatever messages and emails. I get the impression that the average listener is not the sort of terminally online person. And maybe I can't tell if our job should be to like maybe simulate the important information for being terminally online or not. It's hard to say. I don't think you or I actually would fit the description of terminally online. I mean,
I'm probably pretty close, but yes, I have children, so there are plenty of hours in the day where I'm not online. So yeah.
Maybe that's the good balance. Maybe that's it.
It's
good to be like pretty online, but also you have children you have to care for, or emus or goats or something like that.
Well, congratulations on the emus, by the way. I saw.
Thank you very much.
Photos and that's a beautiful thing.
I gave the presentation on the new, the first emu that I have ever been able to hatch. You can go check out Canary Cry Clubhouse last week if you want all the details. And actually, we are on day 51 of the second batch of eggs. So we're coming up on in 72 hours, we'll see if we can get any more emus to hatch.
Have you done some early mind programming for the emus?
Yeah.
Letting them know that they are a very important part of the apocalypse, that they will probably be the vehicles of people getting around.
I put some speakers in the hatcher machine, and I'm just playing Tucker Carlson 24/7. 24/7 Tucker Carlson in the egg, in utero. So,
boy. All right, great job there.
Let's start out with some news here. We're starting out with an update from the New York Post. The headline about missing retired U.S. Air Force general with UFO community ties. Remember, we talked about this guy a week or two ago. Vanished with hiking boots and a revolver.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified.
I think the phrase vanished with hiking boots and a revolver is a very interesting piece of media to sort
Maybe they know that he walked through the portal.
Because vanished, it has this vibe of poof, dematerialized. You blink and they're gone. And then the hiking boots and revolver is very much like, oh, this dude's on some sort of mission. But we talked about this guy disappearing.
William McCasland.
Let me give you a little bit. They give us a little rundown here. A retired U.S. Air Force general with ties to the UFO community, which ties to the UFO community is a very interesting way to describe this fellow. He is the current like CEO of some CIA tech cutouts, and worked in the not just worked, was the head of research for all these like secret Air Force things. They might get into it. So, quote, ties to the UFO community, they're actually scaling back. If you remember the article we read before where they listed all of his crazy stuff, and we even went on his Wikipedia. Interesting thing to do would be to check his Wikipedia and see if they've kind of toned that down. But the dude didn't have ties to the UFO community. He was like the UFO like secret researcher, reverse engineering Air Force general for the whole thing. But now they're scaling it back. They're saying he's got ties to the UFO community, which also has some interesting implications. When you hear UFO community, you immediately think like, oh yeah, crazy online people, crazy UFO nerds. But it could be like the community of UFOs, like he's in the gang of aliens,
Right.
like
Yeah.
he's actually either way.
Yeah.
But
The
they're
clock
saying-
struck midnight. His human suit just he turned back into a pumpkin, basically,
yeah,
or
and
the reptile.
there's been a lot more to kind of come out about this, not to get too deep into it, but he is the third of a small group of people operating at that level who has either mysteriously died or mysteriously disappeared, or both, in the past like year. I think
Yeah,
it's
there was
like
another lady. I forget the names.
a
of the
lady
people.
disappeared while
Yeah.
hiking, and
Yeah, while hiking. Yeah.
left no scent trail or anything. She was hiking with a partner, and she was 30 feet behind this partner, and then just poof, just disappeared. Dogs couldn't catch a scent, the whole thing. Very strange. So
Yeah.
anyways, a retired U.S. Air Force general. Now remember, we're tracking the narrative here because the narrative is
Yeah.
interesting. With ties to the UFO community, not the AUP community, UFO community, who went missing 2 weeks ago, vanished in New Mexico with his hiking boots and revolver, authorities said. Here's some new details. Investigators have been searching for William Neal McCasland, 68, ever since his wife reported him missing from the Albuquerque home on February 27th. This was a day before the war started, I think, after she briefly ducked out for a medical appointment. As the hunt stretched into the 2-week mark, authorities released a new timeline of McCasland's last known whereabouts and revealed some items, including a gun, were still unaccounted for. The gun.
Ooh, the gun's missing too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hope that was a laser gun that's disguised as like a pistol or something.
Yeah, unfortunately, they do give us a caliber here, but lasers got to have calibers. On the morning of his disappearance, McCasland had briefly interacted with a handyman before his wife left to head off to an appointment. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office said late Thursday. When she returned an hour later, McCasland was gone. Quote, his phone, prescription glasses, and wearable devices were located at the residence, the sheriff's office said. So anything that could track him, it was interesting. He didn't have his phone or bring his phone or his wearable devices. Don't know exactly what those are. Maybe Apple Watch, maybe, Google Glasses, maybe pacemaker. He just sort of, dissolved it out of his heart, left it on the thing. I don't know. But left him there. McCasland's wife alerted authorities after she had reached out to family and friends to try to find him. Following a search of his home, authorities said McCasland's hiking boots, wallet, and a .38 caliber revolver with a leather holster are believed to be missing. Bum, bum, bum. He brought his wallet still, though. Maybe he thought he needed his license, his ID. McCasland once led the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Base in Ohio, which is long rumored to hold extraterrestrial debris tied to 1947 Roswell crash. Now, there's one more sentence in, wait, is it? No, okay.
There's more.
Let me keep going. He was also a longtime leader at the Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico and had prior stints at the Pentagon before retiring in 2013.
There is another reference to Ohio with some kind of aerial phenomenon later in this episode. So just
Ohio's popping off.
Yep.
So they give like a couple of his very official military things, like in service. They haven't mentioned the corporations that he headed up. They haven't mentioned, the CIA cutouts. But then it says his wife has since downplayed the UFO community ties as she sought to clear up so-called, quote, misinformation about her husband's disappearance. Quote, Neil does not have any special knowledge about the ET bodies and debris from Roswell crash stored at Wright Pat, she wrote on Facebook on March 6th. She did, however, confirm that McCaslin had a brief association after his retirement with former Blink-182 frontman Tom DeLonge, who co-founded a company that studies information about unidentified aerial phenomena.
All the small things. It's all about the small things.
McCaslin had been an unpaid consultant on military and scientific matters for the company, his wife said. So
she's just bitter there's not a bigger check, maybe, or something.
She's really, I mean, at least in as far as this article is concerned, is really focused on downplaying any of the UFO stuff, right? Which, look, there could be lots of reasons for that. The fact that the hiking boots and the gun are missing obviously gives the impression that I think a lot of us had right off the bat, that he's like on a mission somewhere. He's got something going on. He's trying to go whatever, who knows? Because if he was like, God forbid, if he was kidnapped, yes, you would hope that the kidnappers were smart enough to leave the phone and the wearable devices, but they're like, no, your house slippers won't do. You're going to need some hiking boots there, General. Go put some hiking boots on. Oh, by the way, do you have a gun? Can I have the gun? Thank you. Okay, I'll take the gun. You put on the hiking boots. All right, let's get going. But of course, as far as kidnapping goes, as far as the reporting is concerned, there's been no ransom notes, nothing like this, which starkly sort of juxtaposed the Nancy Guthrie alleged kidnapping, which I have not heard anything about recently. I have no idea what's going on with Nancy Guthrie, but it was like in the same area, right? The Nancy Guthrie thing. I thought.
Oh yeah, you're right. The mother. I thought that was Phoenix or something. I thought that was Arizona. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Maybe. I think it was New Mexico, but either way, these two high profile things. Nancy Guthrie case. I mean, goodness gracious, there's a lot of back and forth. Who knows what's going on there? Who knows if any of there was already like fake ransom notes being sent in, but this isn't about that. This is about this guy. So as far as the narrative is concerned, the narrative being shared or implied by New York Post is that, hey, he has a gun and he has his hiking boots. The dude's off on a walkabout or some sort of mission. At the same time, you have his wife just really trying to downplay the whole UFO thing, which is difficult because, it would be kind of like, someday far into the future, I disappear with my gun and my hiking boots, and my wife goes, look, okay, he did a podcast, all right, but nothing has to do with anything. He just did a podcast. It wasn't a big deal. We don't need to talk about the podcast so much. Okay. It's like the focus of his entire life. And she's kind of, making a point to downplay it.
She's probably not up to speed on all the details either. Just out of
what do you mean?
National security purposes,
Yeah, I think my instinct is that she does know.
Yeah, well, that was my first instinct too, but I don't know.
He's
Because
off on a
for her to
mission.
say that, is to maybe kill the trail kind of thing. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
throw
there's
people off
nothing.
the trail,
Yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah.
he's off on a mission. I gotta cover for him. If
Hmm.
people keep snooping around this UFO stuff, it's not gonna work out. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been 2 weeks now. The narrative has continued, and I can't remember exactly what we predicted. I'd have to go back and listen. But I always did have a suspicion that the story would start to take form, that he wasn't kidnapped, or he wasn't necessarily just like a silver report, sundowner who just walks out onto the street and nobody sees him again or something. Um, I mean, especially because in these 2 weeks, there's been so much hullabaloo about how they can track everyone in your neighborhood through the Ring cameras. Like, this
Oh,
guy's not.
they were, yeah, no, we didn't report the story, but there was a story how the locals were asked to share their Ring cameras to see if there was any evidence of what happened to him.
Yeah,
So yeah, there
right.
was and that sounded like a compliance test, like they can't get into the Ring cameras, right?
Oh,
But
interesting. Yeah, that
to
could
get
be
to
it.
see how many people will actually comply and share the
If
footage.
only he was a dog, then the
Right.
Ring automatic dog searching program could have found him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
well,
that they
I
uh,
think they
mhm.
want us to be under the impression that something's big going on, like, just like let it float around. A UFO mystery, right? Not trying
Yeah.
to kind of fill in the gaps, but like more than anything, this is kind of a UFO mystery. And yet the wife is kind of, trying to say, no, 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 forget about the UFOs. Okay. It has nothing to do with aliens. He's just going on a hike with his gun, and he'll be back.
Maybe they needed him to register a domain or something, Like they needed a technical guy to register a domain with
Yeah, well, we'll get
GoDaddy
it.
or something
There
like
have been some interesting domains. We'll talk about that. Before we do, I do want to take a second and thank our executive producers.
that.
We
Okay.
are on the value for value model, everybody. You know this, I know this, but in case you don't know, we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, platform partnerships, whatever, sponsors. None of it's there, okay? We understand. We intimately feel and sort of theologically understand that money, advertising, the economy of attention, all of these things have very dark roots, both in the spiritual realm and in the sort of mind control, social engineering realm. And we decided long ago that we will not give corporations the ability to decide whether we exist or we don't exist, at least as far as resources go. So value for value model is very simple. Doesn't matter how long you've been listening, whether you're brand spanking new or you've been watching the show, listening to the podcast for 14 years now that we have officially passed the 14-year mark.
Yeah.
If the show has brought any value, and not just the show, maybe it's the show, maybe it's the humor, maybe it's the information, maybe it's the community, maybe you've made
Yeah.
friends, whatever it is. Or, of course, any of our other shows, Canary Cry Clubhouse, etc. Whatever it is, if it gives any value to your life, you are encouraged to understand that we, all of us, are responsible for keeping this show alive with our time, our talent, or our treasure, because there's no corporation or business out there who even has the opportunity, although they do keep trying. We do get a lot of requests.
We do, yeah.
To get their grubby little economic fingers in keeping us alive. And it's very easy. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, your treasure, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You pick the number. If whatever that number means, even the fact that you take the time to produce the show in whatever way you do is enough for us. But God bless the executive producers here. They come in, they support the show for $100 or more for any individual episode like this one. And we thank them here at the top because they're a big deal. And you should thank them too. We're going to start out with executive producer. Ginger's back.
Ginger. Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you very much. Executive producer Ginger coming in for a nice round number So those who haven't heard before, if and when you produce the show, if you produce the show in a nice round, even number on the 10 or the 5, that's you telling us you prefer we do not disclose the amount on the air, and that's just fine. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount, all you got to do is put some funky numbers in there, 33 cents, 77 cents, 1, 2, 3, 4, you get the drill. And if you're looking for an example, you can thank executive producer Sir Alex Protocol V2 Banner the Marine Protocol for that. And he comes in for $100 and 33 cents. Illuminatus, thank you very much. On a 471 episode streak and a 125 executive producer streak. Okay. Well,
Before you move on, real quick.
I'm not going to move on real quick.
Okay.
We have an executive producer who just came in.
Oh, okay.
Just
All right.
in the nick of time. All right. Let me see here. We have, let me see. What name do you want to be known by here? I don't know if they say. It's Toph, executive producer.
Hey, Toph.
Is Toph a knight or anything? I'm trying to remember. I don't recall.
remember.
It seems like he should be. Whether he is or he isn't, he should be. All right. Executive producer Toph comes in, and let's see here. Let me get the amount in a second. But he has a note that comes in, and this note says, "Father told me to put my money where my heart is, and then inspired me to do this combo challenge and giveaway."
Ooh.
All right. Toph has a combo challenge and giveaway. Says this challenge is directed to existing supply drop producers and T-shirt council members.
Ooh.
The giveaway is directed to moochers. Okay. So everybody listen up. I'm challenging the supply droppers and the T-shirt council members to give an executive producership above and beyond their regular commitment. And for every 3 executive producerships, the challenge group, I will sponsor 1 supply drop to be given away. Limit 11 gifts. Well, that's a lot of supply droppers. 11 supply drops. That's great.
Wow.
The recipients will be selected by random draw from a pool of new demoochings in time, talent, or treasure. Plug the volunteer sign up form. Okay, I will do that. Sign up form on canarycry.support or art submission on Canary Cry Party. The Lord told me that I've got to step up my giving and increase my value return. That's not just for Canary Cry, but for his kingdom work in general. I hope this speaks to you, that you do the same. Rules subject to change if Sir Ike says so. God bless you all. Also, actually email me if you're in the Houston area. Let's work something out for April. Also,
like
actually,
a meetup.
Is he talking about a meetup?
I think that's a meetup call out. Yeah.
All right. Well, he gives his email address, toph.not.tough@gmail.com. So toph.not.toughh@gmail.com in the Houston, Texas area, if you want to put something together. All right. So this is very cool. But, we occasionally will get producers or executive producers put together a challenge for the rest of the producers. This is
gamify the value for value.
Gamified
brought to you by the producers.
Right, by other producers. We had nothing to do with this. So thank you very much, executive producer Toph. And so if I understand this correctly, if you are a supply dropper or T-shirt council member, and you are challenged to make an executive producership, and it looks like for every 3 of those executive producerships come in, Toph will sponsor a supply drop membership to a demoocher. And so that's for the supply droppers and T-shirt council members. That's you. Now, if you've never supported the show in any way, your time, your talent, your treasure, then you have an opportunity, if you demooch, which means produce the show in any one of those ways for the first time ever, then you will be, let's see here, How exactly? A random draw. You'll be entered to win a free supply drop. Okay, I think that's pretty
Very cool.
good.
Yeah, it's not
We
bad.
got to figure out how to track these things. I think we'll be. It sounds like Sir Ike might be involved, so this is good. So if you're a supply dropper T-shirt council member, you make executive producership, and if you've never produced before, you produce for the first time, you'll be entered to get free supply drops. Okay, that's cool.
All right.
That sounds good to me. I like that. I'll work on how to explain that for the next few shows. He didn't put a timeline on it, so we'll see how that goes. But good encouragement in times such as these, when things are as they are, and you've got some people who are running around like chickens with their head cut off, yelling at the government and the authority figures to take care of them. And you've got a different kind of person who understands that now is the time to stand shoulder to shoulder with your fellow believers and march forward in whatever direction the Lord has you pointed for his kingdom come. So thank you very much, executive producer Toph. I believe he comes in with a nice round number. And so there you go.
Thank you, Toph. And yeah, I was just going to mention, that's so crazy that Toph brought up what was on his heart, because, I don't think we lean into the scriptures enough for the reason for value. They actually are it's a very biblical concept. And I know you have your lines that talk about it. I do want to reference 2 Corinthians 9, 6-8.
Mm-hmm.
Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion. So there is a call, voluntary support, cheerful giving, no guilt tactics. And that's kind of how we operate around here. But also in the context of becoming producers of the show, that's a title that you get to carry, that you produced this show. Yeah. And so that's, again, Paul in Philippians chapter 4, 15-19. I won't read the passage here, but basically Paul thanks the Philippians for materially partnering with him in ministry. And he treats those people giving not as like a payment, but participating in the work. And so I think it's very appropriate to have this value for value model as a Christian podcast and reflecting those values economically. And I know it would be so easy for us to sell out and, sell some stuff or, partner with some company to sell underwear or something, but we choose not to.
Yeah, you point out the really important part that something like this, and I believe in most things, you'll even hear it on podcasts that do advertise. How do they say it? They say, we've partnered with Underwear Express. They are our partners. You know what I mean? And that's just, that's kind of like corporate advertiser speak.
Yeah.
But it's also more than that. Like it says, like you say in the scripture, and something like that, you're actually partnering with people. Yeah. And so on the spiritual level, in the spiritual realm, this show to partner with a corporation, like any corporation,
defeat the purpose of the message of the show. Really.
It's just not a good look, and it doesn't have a good feel. Like, let me partner with these corporations. I don't know. It's just weird. But anyways, thank you very much, executive producer Toph.
Yep.
And all of our executive producers. We will thank some more producers later on in the show. Not a super long list today. Now, while we're at it, I do want to thank some of our producers who left ratings and reviews. I thanked a couple up top there. Mm-hmm. And Sir Ike's supply drop giveaway is also still going. The supply drop mega boxes. Yep. And this is available to anybody who leaves a rating and a review anywhere that you can. If it's Apple Podcasts, that's a good one. Spotify, I think, lets you do ratings. Audible is also a great one. You can leave ratings and reviews. But wherever you can, leave a rating and a review. Screenshot that and email the screenshot to canarycrysupplydrop@gmail.com. And you'll be entered to win not a supply drop, but some of the inventory that has been held back for rewarding people. So you're not getting the same supply drop that everybody's getting now, but you're getting some cool stuff from previous supply drops. We also had a speak pipes from Sir Ike here.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and play that.
Hey, Canary family, this is Sir Ike here. I have a quick announcement to make. I am running through all of the lists for the Supply Drop and Shirt Council right now. If you have had an address update or shirt size that needs changed. If you could let me know that within the next week or so, I would really appreciate that. Just send me an email to canarycrysupplydrop@gmail.com. Thanks.
There you go.
Give those updates. Last but not least, we have a message from Jonathan W. in the YouTube chat here, who says, "Thanks for the reminder to order my Cage Rattler coffee. It really is the best coffee."
Oh, yeah.
Straight from Jonathan W. And speaking of which, Cage Rattler coffee. Look, here's the thing: it's parallel economy. The other coffee companies hate you. They make bad coffee. It's moldy. It's burnt. It's bad. Instead, you should put your trust in Cage Rattler coffee, because that's what I do, where we have Canarians. Sir Ike goes around the world. You remember the sort of Indiana Jones travel sequence where it's a map and the red dot with the airplane is like flying all around the world? That's what Sir Ike does, sort of metaphorically, and sources these beans from all over the place, GMO-free, organic coffee beans, and they're roasted in super small batches just for Canarians. So it's not just a way to support Canarians by, purchasing the coffee that Sir Ike works so hard on, but it also supports the show, which is very nice. Value for value it gives to the show. But also it's supporting the Canarium, to give access not just to great coffee that you really can't get anywhere else, but an opportunity to be choosy, to be intentional, not just with what we put into our body with the good coffee and not the evil coffee, but also intentional about where we direct our resources that God gives us. So this is a great way to do it.
And by the way, I don't know what Sir Ike is going to do with prices, but it did come out today, a report that U.S. coffee prices are surging at a record pace. It's up 31% in a year. So
yeah,
it's
Sir
getting
Ike
out of
shares
control
with me a lot of these problems, and he does an amazing job at keeping the prices really competitive. In fact, I got a message from Sir Ike. It says, "Since the spring equinox is just a couple of days away, I'm running a special now through March 31st. Use code SPRING, all caps, SPRING, to get 7% off all orders, no minimum."
Wow.
So that's, very rarely do these deals have no minimum in the world.
Cage Rattler coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
There you go. Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com, stock up, get the goods, and use the code SPRING to get 7% off. Support yourself, support the Canarium, support other Canarians working hard for the community here. All right, let's get it. You ready for more news, Guns?
I'm ready. We gotta let's go.
We're doing it.
Super PSYOP.
Super PSYOPs, they're coming. Here's your rundown of the guys were right the entire time, coming from the mainstream media. This one popped off yesterday from DailyMail. Now, DailyMail is one of the places where a lot of this is coming from. DailyMail, famously sort of PSYOP professionals. And so let's keep in mind with the disclosure. Disclosure is the theme of the epoch,
the year,
right?
the epoch,
the year. Disclosure, because the truth has been known, but it's been denied, and they can't hide it anymore. So now it's the controlled rollout of whatever the new age of understanding of the government is. So that's part of when we see the mainstream media rolling out old conspiracy theories as news. Remember, that isn't capitulation. That's not the powers that be being like, okay, you got us. Here it is. It's not capitulation. It is controlled disclosure.
Yes.
So we have controlled disclosure from Daily Mail. CIA accused of poisoning the sky with toxins as files expose secret weather control agenda.
What?
Geoengineering.
No way. There's a secret weather control agenda.
Once top secret, no, not just weather control, poisoning the sky.
Yeah.
Once top secret CIA files have detailed America's plans to control the world by manipulating the weather. The documents declassified in 2003 discuss the controversial topic of weather modification and tactic of launching rockets or using planes to dump chemicals into the atmosphere that alter the climate and local storm systems.
Declassified in 2003. It took 23 years for the mainstream media to pick up on a story that was, or some facts that was.
Well, that's the funny part, right? Because you come in, you talk about the CIA spraying chemicals into the air. Of course, you're met with, that's a conspiracy theory, which then they're met with, here are some CIA
right. These are the facts. And you're crazy.
2003. And then, the PSYOP goes on. But it goes on. We don't need to go through the entire thing, but it says, although the resurfaced documents from 1965 did not mention the specific chemicals used in the experiments, they did discuss the need for more funding of the weather modification projects that would soon be used as a weapon of war. Which is also, the past few years, I think starting at about 2023 was when they started to kind of admit, okay, yes, we are spraying chemicals into the sky, but it's good, it's okay because it's going to protect us from the solar rays, that evil sun. We got to block it out. It's for climate control, whatever it is, right? And
the vampires were concerned about global warming and they have to block out the sun. Yeah,
right. This has been about a 3-year process of the mainstream disclosure that in our terms, geoengineering, weather modification, and chemtrails have been right the whole time. But they do it in this 3-year sequence of, yes, they are doing it. Or no, it's not happening. Yes, it's happening. Okay, yes, it's happening, but it's good. And now we've kind of all at once, apparently, in the just like 3 months that have just previously gone, everything switched from yes, it's happening and it's good to okay, yeah, the documents say it's for a weapon of war and it's super sketchy and it's toxins.
Yeah, so just to culturally reference how much this is getting out there. There was an earthquake off the coast of Cuba yesterday morning, I believe. It was about a 6.0 earthquake. And of course, I made a post about it. And I said that people are realizing every time America's about to invade a country, there's a total power blackout followed by a large earthquake, which might suggest the use of weather modification technology like HARP. And of course, I put the Leo DiCaprio waking up meme. He's waking up to the truth. Guess how many impressions this post has, Basil?
4.
770,000. It is getting out there, man. I don't know what I think I cracked the algos on X, but yeah, the posts like this are going giga viral. And I think it's because the sentiment is people waking up to the facts, which have been there for 23 years at the very least, even longer.
It's very interesting because in the spirit of disclosure, we've talked about over the past 3 years, this sort of ascending or descending style of presenting the, okay, yes, weather modification exists. Okay, yes, these companies are getting banned from doing it, but that's bad, and they go here and they say the 18-page report was recently shared by conspiracy theorists years after it was quietly placed into the CIA's public archives. Okay, so they're admitting it's true and was released by the CIA, still using the phrase conspiracy theorists. I think that we're looking at some part of the disclosure because now they can go back to calling people conspiracy theorists because it's like mainstream. But it goes more. It says into the public archives, including a letter praising the classified operation from U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson. And these are the clips and the facts that the conspiracy theorists would present for everybody to know. Johnson's endorsement of the CIA weather modification project came just 3 years after he gave an ominous speech on the future of America and the work to create weather satellites with the power to strengthen storms. strengthen storms. Also, very interesting recent events about strengthening storms. While giving the commencement address at Southwest Texas State University in May 1962, then Vice President Johnson said, quote, "He who controls the weather will control the world."
Yeah, this is like conspiracy 101 knowledge here,
They are
as well as
giving
the MacArthur giving the speech. I think it was around the same time, 1962, at what's that college for military? Oh, I'm blanking on the name. I'm trying to do it off the top of my head.
Annapolis or something?
No, it was. Oh man. Anyway, he basically said at the graduation speech that, hey, we're going into a new world where we can control the weather, and a lot more than that. He said more than that. Battling space creatures and stuff. So yeah, I mean, they've been on this type of thing for a long time, and they've said it publicly. It's just, hey, don't believe it unless
we know that
Daily Mail reports it.
We know that. But it's very interesting because juxtaposed to the quote unquote admission that weather modification actually exists in the past 3 years, you hit the nail on the head. They give a full 101 conspiracy roundup on this whole thing, going back to Lyndon B. Johnson, going back to let's see what he said.
Everybody's saying in the chat, it's West Point. Yes, West Point was the university. Yes.
Go back to the Soviet Union files. They go back to the CIA. So they really are. I mean, this is a nice little 101 roundup for anybody who ever doubted about the CIA, weather wars that have been going on for 40, 60 years now, something like that.
This is also right in line with the World Economic Forum 2 years ago, starting the camp. It was longer than that, but it was probably 3 or 4 years, but publicly stating we need to regain trust. And one way to do that, because look, we've went through a whole period of maybe about 10 years of all mainstream media is fake news, fake news, fake news. And so when they start dropping facts like this, your normie might still think, oh, I thought the mainstream was fake news, and all of a sudden they're telling me the truth. And so
perhaps
kind of see how the PSYOP continues on various levels. But I mean, it's interesting that more people will actually see it as probably factual, or at least see the facts as real at the very least, now that Daily Mail is reporting on it or something.
And there's an aspect of it that is, okay, we can't hold it back much longer. People are waking up. We're now losing people because they're figuring it out.
Right.
So now we can give the 101. We present not even the conspiracy theory. We present, we do controlled disclosure. So now there's a whole generation of people who are understanding that the conspiracy theory was true, but they're getting it from the mainstream media. So now the mainstream media sort of has control of those people, rebuilding trust through transparency, a whole generation of what would formerly have been called conspiracy theorists, but now they're just people who read the news, right? So it's this weird thing where it's like, initiating people into the secrets, but doing it in a way that they're no longer special for knowing it, right? Like, we don't have a special name for them. They're not outside. They're not cast out of society. Let's bring them in. It's a very powerful control mechanism. Now, another one, again, from the Daily Mail, this is mirrored by MSN. CIA faces furious backlash after hidden documents hints at possible cancer cure. They kind of dialed back the headline on that one, but a newly surfaced CIA document suggests U.S. intelligence once reviewed research that hinted at a possible cancer treatment more than 60 years ago. Now, this one is really softened up. I don't know if they rewrote it or the document, produced in February 1951 and declassified in 2014, summarizes a Soviet scientific paper that examined striking similarities between parasitic worms and cancerous tumors. The research, and this is big for a reason here we'll get into in a second. The report described how researchers believed both organisms thrived under nearly identical metabolic conditions and accumulated large reserves of glycogen, a form of stored energy. The research also highlighted experiments showing that certain chemical compounds were capable of targeting both parasitic infections and malignant tumors. Now, they're going to get into a couple, at least one drug here. One called Mirasil D was reportedly effective against bilharzia parasites as well as cancerous growths, hinting that treatments developed for parasites might also attack tumors. Now, do you recall, Gons, a medication that was very popular in the media just about 5 years ago, where the mainstream was saying, no, that's a dewormer. That's a horse dewormer.
Oh, I don't know. Was it this one? I don't think it was this one, but was it this one?
Ivermectin. I got COVID. Ivermectin. All kinds of meds. Ivermectin. Everything. Ivermectin. Boom, he took ivermectin.
Was it that one?
That's the one. That's the one. And I don't think they mention it in this article, but for anybody who maybe has been following the ivermectin tale over the past few years, it's become more and more accepted and more. I'm not making a medical statement here, YouTube, but from the reporting, it looks like people are trying to apply ivermectin to various issues. And if parasites and tumors are fueled by the same fuel in the same way, you can see how some people are coming to the conclusion that they can be taken care of in the same way. So wrapped up in this report, declassified in 2014, which anybody who really dug into ivermectin and dug into the parasite concept is really big now too. Of course, cancer research has been a topic of conspiracy theorists for a long time. You can see how, especially after the past few years, there would kind of be no choice but to lay out give a sort of conspiracy theory 101 class on this very specific and very specifically relevant sort of target for medical research. And it goes on and on and on. And they have the documents here and they go through it. And
this one particularly egregious on multiple levels. Of course, many of our friends, fellow community people, family suffer and have been affected by cancer, either directly with death or, treatment or whatever it is. So, I don't understand why there is not like a revolution already, with this news out there. It's like, how are we just kind of going along with it when many of us have been touched by cancer in one way or another? So that's my first thing. But also, they quote somebody on X here, again, Daily Mail, sometimes when it's appropriate, they will credit the people saying it. Other times they just say one person shared on X. They don't want to give them credit, basically.
Right.
They said the Americans knew, they read it, classified it confidential, and locked it in a vault for 60 years, which is, again, the geopolitical tensions of the day at the time, because it was Russian. And remember, the Russians were communists, and the communists we can't give any credit because we're in a space race with them and whatever. So any positive benefits or any breakthroughs in any kind of scientific way had to be classified or had to be put away. I don't know what the cancer treatment industry was like in the 50s or 60s, but they must have had it planned to some effect of like, hey, we can make a lot of money keeping people a little bit more sick, without giving him the full treatment. And of course, it probably spiraled out of control. And it took, 70 years or something for all this stuff to come to the forefront. And still, nothing is going to change overnight. You got people that are, if you get cancer now, today, you're probably going to go through, at least if you're going through the medical system, it's going to be the same types of treatments that, the chemo and all that. So it's going to be a while before, number one, the knowledge to really spread, and then number two, for actual systemic change to take place. And by then, it might be CRISPR. It might be, it might become a government mandate that you get cleared of cancer, any kind of potential for cancer. Here, take this jab. It'll get rid of your cancer.
Well, that's kind of an interesting part about this controlled disclosure, because the word ivermectin does not appear in this 200 paragraph article at all. They are very thorough. I mean, it takes forever to read this article. And the word ivermectin never appears. Now, somebody who's online in the notes, searching around, you're going to find ivermectin stuff pop up all related to all of this. And yet they don't mention it in this controlled disclosure. Why? Well, because we're just hearing the announcements for mRNA cancer vaccines.
Yes, of course.
Is still the platform of choice.
Yes, I just to mention it, because this was another story that was out there in the last couple of days. We're not officially bring it, but just to give you the headline from Fortune, an Australian tech entrepreneur used AI to help create the first ever bespoke cancer vaccine for a dog to treat his beloved pet Rosie. And yes, this tech guy used ChatGPT to create the schematics or whatever, and then some company made the mRNA vaccine for the dog and cured the dog of cancer. So there you go. I mean, this is where we're at here. We couldn't do this. The medical industry itself with COVID, I think it was a systematic teardown to allow for a populist scientific uprising in a sense.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Because the trust
AI
is
playing a big part of it.
AI playing a role in that, because the trust is broken. The trust was going out the door anyway. So might as well tear the whole thing down with the trust factor of the medical institutional, the scientific dictatorship, and allow the people to create the breakthroughs using AI. And that's much more.
You think
that's an angle. It's probably an octopus arm.
Yeah, it seems like it would kind of like take the control out of where they want the control to be. But I think what you're saying, this particular story is such a good advertisement for mRNA technology, because remember, it's the platform. The whole thing was about the platform. All the lies, all the manipulation, all the regulation, all the weird mandates and stuff. It was all about proving the platform of mRNA, because you can whip something up really quick. You can sequence a certain thing. You can make it highly personalized. But mRNA could not, after many years, make it past like first rounds of testing, because it was killing all the monkeys.
It was hurting people, or rats or whatever they were testing on.
There needed the sort of emergency use authorization thing, which is, still a pretty bad sticking point for a lot of people. But the story of the random Australian guy who uses AI to cure his dog with mRNA is such a good advertisement for the platform that, let that out. Let people know. Look, it's outside of the system. People love that. He did it by himself with AI. People love that. Plus, it's a great advertisement for the platform, for AI, et cetera, et cetera. All right, one last one here, Gons. This one was great. This is the New York Post. Now, talking about disclosure, one of the most, I remember hearing this one way, way back in the day when we were first podcasting and just being like, whoa, this is gnarly. It's an example of, high level military personnel telling a story that is just so insane. And it's the type of thing that you could try to tell people, but they would just say, oh, that's a crazy internet guy. This is the New York Post doing a podcast. Okay. So today on the new NY Postcast, they call it, New York Postcast, a retired U.S. Air Force launch officer claimed UFOs disabled multiple nuclear missiles when they appeared around the Montana base where he was stationed decades ago. Subscribe here. They have a 1 minute and 30-second clip of their podcast here. And just remember, this is mainstream media podcast, which is even worse.
Yeah, let's see here. Let me make sure things are lined up here. Here we go.
Nope, no audio.
Oh, that's a platform issue. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Beep, bop, bloop.
I've been getting this bug again recently with StreamYard, so I don't know why it is doing this. So I gotta recreate the screen share, and now let's try it. She says, "Alien for peace."
Aliens for peace. A retired U.S. Air Force launch officer claims that decades ago, UFOs disabled multiple nuclear missiles at the Montana base where he was stationed. Wait, what? 85-year-old Robert Salas says that he witnessed a mysterious force that paralyzed the military's ability to control Minuteman I intercontinental ballistic missiles at the Mamstrom Air Force Base way back in 1967. Salas's job was to launch and monitor nuclear missiles if given the order to do so during the Cold War, which, what a gig. He says he was at the controls on March 24th, 1967, when panicked guards called about an unidentified aircraft in the area. A few minutes later, a guard reported a red glow above the front gate, and that's when Salas glanced over at the status lights, the ones that showed whether or not the 10 missiles he was in charge of were able to be launched if needed.
And then all of a sudden we get a large horn go off, and we know what that means. It means that there's an issue with one of the missiles. So we look at the board, and sure enough, one of them went from green to red. And then very quickly thereafter, bing, 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 all 10 of them went down. They all went red.
Now, Salas says he sent a guard over to the missile silos, and the guard reported lights hovering above them. After the incident, a full investigation was unable to find the cause for this bizarre turn of events. But Salas says he is convinced the culprit is, quote, another civilization.
Okay.
It's a classic story that comes up all the time when we were talking about in the Ukraine, there were stories like this going on. The sort of UFO lore of aliens or craft sort of here to babysit us so we don't blow each other up or whatever. This is all very classic UFO lore. And they actually, I don't know if they got the guy in for an interview or they took these clips.
Yeah, it looked like they took it from some other interview. And
so this was the like trailer for the interview. I'm sorry. Yeah, the trailer for the podcast episode. I have not listened to their podcast. I don't know exactly how it's formatted. But either way, this is a classic UFO story. And now, there it is, presented to the mainstream without any implication that it's, a conspiracy theory or something for crazy people to think or talk about. The 2026 UFO disclosure set design is really they're really going to town on it.
Yeah, so if you are new to the topic or you don't know specifically about some of it, one of the most popular ones that I ran across when I was first researching into the UFO rabbit hole was Rendlesham Forest. And Rendlesham was supposedly near the Bentwaters, and it was near a NATO base where they had nuclear or testing or something going on. And there was a big UFO sighting there. It's one of the more famous UFO sightings out there. So yeah, go look up Rendlesham Forest UFO, and you'll find the rabbit hole there for all that stuff with shutting down the weaponry and whatnot. So, and yeah, of course, that creates a great narrative for the sort of peaceful aliens thing, where it's like, hey, they're here to cause peace. And I've even seen that because of the current tensions with Iran, and we're going to drop a nuke on them, or they're going to drop a nuke on us, or all the nuke talks that have been ongoing for 60 years, is that, oh, don't worry, because the aliens won't let that happen. Mm-hmm. And then of course you see the counter narrative of like, that's why they have to use lasers and weather weapons, because they can't just drop the nuke. The aliens won't let us. So.
Well, and it's interesting too, because it is the classic roadmap that we've pointed out already on this episode when it comes to the mainstream is, no, you're crazy, you're evil, you're a conspiracy theorist. Okay, maybe it happened, but not the way you think it happened, all the way to the last stop on the bus line, which is, yeah, it happened and it's good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the aliens are shutting down our weapon systems, and that's good. They're helping us.
They're
They're
here
saving
for peace. Aliens for
Yeah.
peace?
Now, kind of along those lines, an interesting display in the skies around
yes.
the world
Yeah.
have been unfolding. There's been lots of reports of strange, well, I guess they're being reported as meteors falling from the sky all over the world. There's been about 6 or 7 of them now. And what is this? Is this in like the past week, or is this in the past couple days?
Yeah, it's been so some other people are lining it up with the start of the Iran war, or the conflict in Iran, I guess. But yeah, there's been a few of them here.
Space. Wanna go to space?
And you shall hear roars and rumors of wars.
Boom, boom, boom. Now there's montages people are putting together, like the one. Hold on one second. Why am I getting this double thing here? Hold on one moment. I don't know why there is strangeness going on with this whole thing here. Here we go. For those of you watching, people are putting together the montage of various locations all around the world where there are meteors being captured by people's cell phones. This first one,
or ring cameras, or dash
cameras
cams.
or something. Yeah. So the first one is from Garden Grove, which is in my neck of the woods. It's a little close to where I am. And yeah, it looks like Son Goku from Dragon Ball is showing up. He's coming, or maybe this is Frieza's space ball thing that he, flew in Dragon Ball. I don't know, but yeah, so there's that. They all kind of look the same. They got that, I don't know, fireball in the sky look, which would be consistent with a meteor. But there's one in particular that I found a news report from the mainstream, and this is coming from NBC News. And the headline here was, "Meteor causes thunderous boom over Ohio and Pennsylvania." So here's that Ohio again. Let's take a look at this report. I thought it was pretty funny.
Tonight, meteoric levels of confusion in Cleveland after a loud boom rang through the region, frightening the pets in this person's backyard and stopping drivers in their tracks.
Oh, what the was that?
The fireball also spotted as far away as Pittsburgh, streaking through the sky.
Anyone that's in Northeast Ohio, did you hear the loud boom?
It sounded like a freaking bomb went off in the Cleveland area.
NASA says it was a meteor fracturing into small pieces when an asteroid nearly 6 feet in diameter and weighing around 7 tons entered the atmosphere.
The ground beneath my feet was no longer stable.
Ralph Harvey studies planetary materials like these at Case Western Reserve in Ohio.
We're just basically talking about space debris that's falling into the Earth's atmosphere, right? Why don't we hear about this kind of thing more?
Well, the main reason is it's actually more common than most people think. What's different about this one is it came during daylight hours right over a major metropolitan area.
So it turns out.
What are we, dinosaurs?
It's nothing prehistoric or even life-threatening.
There is a huge comet headed towards Earth.
Just a fiery moment shaking up some shocked Ohioans. Sam Brock, NBC News.
Don't worry, everybody.
Tonight.
Just a loud rock, a meteor booming in the skies. Don't worry.
I love how his implication is like, no, it happens all the time. This one was just different because it was during the day, as if like fiery balls flying in the night. Like they're more nocturnal creatures, right? They don't like to fly through.
They come out at night. Yeah, and of course, this doesn't address the multiple locations where fireballs and meteors have been seen recently.
That's the point. That's the interesting thing. In the past week, there's been like 6 or 7 of them, and you can report on any one of them and be like, oh yeah, there it is, big thing. Oh, don't worry, it's not scary. It's no big deal. But yeah, it didn't mention in the report, oh, by the way, on 5 different continents spanning the entire globe, we've got big meteors falling out of the sky. Now, there's one that's by someone's account, by someone's list here, the meteors have been in Turkey, Australia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. But there was also reports of one over in Texas,
Yeah, the Texas one is getting a lot of attention because allegedly it was not moving in a straight line as you would expect a meteor to do. It was curving.
Yeah. And
changing directions. And those of you watching, you can see it in the
it
screen
has
there.
like a slight curve to it. I mean, it's not an insignificant curve, but it is strange.
Yeah.
Then there was Los Angeles was one of the more recent ones here.
Yes.
Let's see here. Where was this? Yeah, Los Angeles, caught on dash cams. When was this? I think this is the most recent.
This is the Garden Grove, the one from Garden Grove that I showed at the beginning. I think it was the same one.
Oh, is it? I thought Garden Grove was more Northern California.
No. Garden Grove is definitely Southern California and definitely, 10, 15, 20 minutes away from LA County. So, yeah. So it's really interesting because one of the things that, one of the commentaries here is coming from Whale Guru on X. So, take it with a grain of salt here, but he does point out something very interesting, which I don't know why it's not sharing. Something's going on with the browser. Every time I share a tab, it doubles up and it's like sharing two. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, Whale Guru here says something is happening in US and nobody is connecting the dots. Great way to start a post, by the way. Nice job there, Whale Guru. He says the USA-Iran war started February 28th, 2026. The first fireball appeared on March 2nd. 4 days after the war began.
That's not true. That's not how days work. February 28th to March 2nd, 4 days.
Yeah, so 20.
It only works if
First,
February has 31 days in it. But
yeah, I guess it was 2 days later, 3 days. Yeah. We only had 28 days this month.
2 days later, unless he's counting the 28th, the 1st, the 2nd. No, even then, it would be not 4 days. That would be 3 days. Boo. Okay, so bad math coming from Whale Guru. Nevertheless, let's just ignore that part. That is not a coincidence I'm willing to ignore. Oh, no? Okay.
March 2nd, 2026, Louisiana, plus 3 states, orange fireball 50 miles up, seen across 4 states, caught on camera. March 3rd, 2026, Pacific Northwest, NASA confirmed fireball at 100x speed of sound. Sonic boom felt from Canada to Seattle. March 11th, Northeast, 12 states, 113 fireball reports in one night across the entire region. Ohio, March 17th, 7-ton asteroid explodes with 250 tons TNT force. Shockwave felt across multiple states. That's the one we just saw the news report on. And then March 17th, Texas, Dallas, fireball seen changing directions midair. No official explanation yet. 5 meteor strikes right when the war started. This can't be coincidence. Something is definitely being hidden. Could this be Iran attacking the U.S.?
Okay.
Yes, they said the drones can reach the U.S. So maybe? Question mark?
Okay, so he's trying to say that these are like Iranian
interballistic missiles or something. Yeah, maybe the Golden Dome over America is active, is what I think he's trying to say here.
Interesting.
It's not completely dismissible, but
I think they're ramping up. I think Trump sees that he is having a hard time finding an off ramp to the Iranian issue. He wanted it to be fast. It's not looking like it's going to be over fast, and so he calls his buddies at the New York Post to put out the report about the aliens turning off the nuclear missiles. You start getting some strange acting fireballs in the sky. And, you can set up a nice disclosure where the aliens come, stop all the war, they make a deal with Trump, and everything's going to be great.
Now, I don't think you put the story in there. Was the story recent? Because I saw it on the timeline, but I didn't really dig into it, that some of these meteors had human DNA, like all the
that was
building blocks. Was that older?
That was a different story. That was allegedly not one that came crashing to Earth. I think it was just one they saw floating out in space.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But yeah, there was a report that NASA said this asteroid has all the building blocks of DNA right there on the asteroid. I didn't bring the story though.
If you want to break it down into the smallest components of matter, then sure, yeah, everything has the components of everything.
Yeah,
we're all dust. We're all dust. Okay, so this brings us to the Trump effect. You brought up Trump here, and since we are in the new golden age here, we will see what's going on with Trump.
We will launch a new age.
Back to the Daily Mail, which seems to be just front of the news cycle here. Trump's UFO disclosure edges closer as new U.S. government website is spotted. This came out this morning. The White House has registered the domain aliens.gov.
Perfect.
There you go. Sparking fresh speculation that President Donald Trump's long-awaited UFO disclosure may be imminent. The domain, linked to the executive office of the president, was flagged on Wednesday by an automated tracker of federal websites. However, it is also listed in the government's official .gov registry, maintained by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA. Registry records show it was recently added under the White House office alongside other official government sites, confirming it as a legitimate federal web address, though its purpose has not been publicly disclosed. I mean, there is a possibility that this disappoints everybody, and it's about illegal aliens or, unwanted, migrants. The website,
it's like a classic Trump branding too, because if it was a different government, a different administration, they might call it like UAP.gov or whatever. I don't know, something like aliens is such a colloquial name. That it's got like that vibration to it that like,
I mean, biblically, some translations say that we are aliens among the fallen world kind of thing. It's not our place of residence. So maybe it's talking about believers. Registry records show it was recently added under the White House office alongside other official government sites, confirming it is a legitimate federal website. The website is not currently live, but the domain has been reserved. Oh, man. Can you count down for the website launch of aliens.gov? It's like a movie out here. Disclosure countdown. We need one. In February, Trump directed federal agencies, including the Pentagon, to begin identifying and releasing files.
You missed one here.
Oh, I did. Okay.
The discovery has raised questions about whether it could be used as a future portal for documents tied to Trump's push for greater transparency on unidentified aerial phenomena.
I hope that's a CERN portal. That an alien hand comes out of a portal and hands us documents about, what's really going on or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably just a website that, people can go to report their strange sightings, which also I think
they're saying this is where he'll be releasing files.
Yeah.
Like, the Epstein files got their own.
Okay, so like website. A DOJ. Okay. Well, I was going to say, because, we didn't bring the story to the show, but there's been a slew of Bigfoot sightings reported. Interestingly enough, Ohio again. And I think there was one in Minnesota, up in the northeast or northwest of the United States. And there was like maybe 5 or 6 Bigfoot sighting articles that were out there. And, people were saying, hey, why is there an uptick in Bigfoot sightings? But what I pointed out, at least on X, was that the Apple iOS, they're doing a big update and they're adding a bunch of emojis. And one of the emojis is Bigfoot. So I think, to give people a reason to start sharing the Bigfoot emoji, they need some Bigfoot sighting articles out there. And, also this whole disclosure thing could ramp up a lot of weird experiences from people, or what people will perceive or maybe interpret as an encounter with an alien or a UFO or something like that. So,
or a good reason to end the war in Iran. It's the timeline is also interesting. First of all, they got alien.gov and also aliens.gov.
Yeah,
which
we got
is
both of them.
Good thinking. You got to get both of them. On February 19th, Trump truthed, based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects. That was February 19th.
Yeah, we reported on that.
Trump has since gone quiet about his plans to release government files related to UFOs and extraterrestrial life. However, the war with Iran began shortly after he announced it in February.
You think he set that up as a escape hatch? Like, hey, I don't want to, but if we need to, we can bust out the alien story to get out of the war.
I mean, well, and that's, I mean, even very practically, right? Even outside, you don't even have to like be like, oh, do you think maybe they had a plan? Of course they had a plan. You know, that it's the same with the release of the Epstein files, right? They hold on to it for as long as they possibly can. And then they release it when it's helpful. In this case, it was right about the start of the war in Iran to distract people, to, you know, kind of flood the zone of the news cycle. This is, you know, of course they're holding on to this. That what it signals to me, along with all the mainstream disclosure stuff, right? Disclosure is coming. Remember, this is release of documents, and the mainstream is now getting very comfortable and used to reporting pretty matter-of-factly on disclosed documents. Not just the geoengineering or the UFOs or the cancer cures, but also the Epstein documents, right? So it's like this beautiful red button that he can press. And I think the fact it was so closely chronologically related to the start of the Iran war, mix that with the mainstream disclosure about how aliens, you know, want to stop war and they make nuclear missiles stop working. I think whether it's true or not, whether, you know, there's aliens at all or whatever, it's a very effective Trumpian sort of trapdoor to be able to just get him, you know, because he just needs to get over these little humps, right? He can barge through almost any obstacle he wants. He can barge through any trial they bring against him, any crime they make allegations about, anytime they try to impeach him, whatever, he just barges right through. But there's these little moments, and the Iran war is one of them, where he can't just push through because it's just against everything that anybody wanted from him.
Yeah.
But if he sets up these little buttons, it's just like just enough to distract everybody so he can push through and get what he needs. And then he's on the other side of the obstacle and he'll deal with it there, right? He's very much like, we'll deal with that when we're there. We'll deal with it when we get there. We'll deal with it. And I think the Iran war is very similar because the big question is, what are you talking about? You can bomb them as much as you want, but if, depending on what you actually want, you're gonna get stuck. Like, you're gonna have to go in if you really want a regime change. You're gonna need this. And to set up these little things that just kind of help him push through an obstacle to get to the other side is very classic. You know, you can go through his whole history and see these little things.
It's pretty useful for a negotiating tactic too, if they do announce that the U.S. government has access to the aliens or the alien technology or something. It's like, look, we're running out of missiles, but we'll unleash the lasers. Don't make us unleash the lasers, you know. And then you can.
By the way, there's a document that
the
U.S. has an alliance with the aliens, and they'll come in and fight our wars.
Oh my gosh! Please, just for the entertainment factor, please make that happen. You know, Trump rolling out a document saying that U.S. has alien technology, so Iran better
negotiating.
I know, not to actually blow them away,
just enough to Iran to be like, oh, wait, do they have an alliance with aliens?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then we'll find all of the people who went disappearing. They're the ones, you know, up in the space mobile there.
UFO General. Whatever.
Yeah, they're up there in the spaceship right now. You know, they can make a red dot, or maybe it's a red triangle like in Predator, you know, on the forehead of the new Ayatollah. And so they know that the alien laser beams are ready to go from the United States. I don't know. I think you're right that there is something to it when it comes to either a negotiating tactic or some kind of escape hatch for the Iran situation. And as things unfold, we'll see if he actually presses that button. But for our sake, our sake, yes, press the button, but don't hurt anybody. That's the one thing that I don't want people getting killed or getting hurt. But although, hey, make some money while you're at it.
Money printer go.
According to Polymarket, will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? It went down a little bit from this morning. It was actually it went up and then it's back down. It's 19% chance right now.
Yeah,
about $17 million of volume. So people are really interested in this topic here.
Up from 16% yesterday. So
Yeah,
just
yeah.
on the news today, on the aliens.com news or aliens.gov, we've got 3% up.
Oh man, that's a great inside trade too. If you're part of the government, you're like, oh, we're about to release the aliens.gov website domain. Here, put a little bet on yes, and take a little profit. That's how the government people. It's not the salary that makes these government officials rich. It's the insider information that gets them rich.
And you can too. Yeah, speaking of Polymarket, of course, the official partner of all the news outlets, Polymarket is coming out with a brand new nightlife changing opportunity for everybody.
Yeah,
This
so
really is beast system exposed for sure.
It's crazy. So according to Polymarket, they announced this morning on X, we're excited to announce the Situation Room by Polymarket is coming to Washington, D.C., the world's first bar dedicated to monitoring the situation.
Monitoring the situation.
It's a bar. The alcohol industry loves it. This actually kills two birds with one stone because the alcohol consumption has gone way down in this country. So, get people...
Yeah, because everybody's at home monitoring the situation.
Now you need to go to Washington,
it is possible that this is another pop-up. I'm imagining that this is another pop-up of theirs. One pop-up they did was the Polymarket in New York. And a lot of people got fooled on this because Zoran Mamdani came out and said, we're going to have free grocery stores for all the commies in New York, right? So Polymarket put up a pop-up. They rented a space and made a free grocery store, and they called it the Polymarket.
Right.
And everybody was under the impression that this is New York's communist free grocery store. And, they had all the art and they had the opening day. The colors of the grocery store was all, the Polymarket blue and stuff. So people who are a little bit less zeroed in on, the political inflammatoriness of it, noticed pretty quick that something was up here. But the fun part, the news generating aspect of it was they opened the Polymarket, the free grocery store, and then it was like 2 days later, they were like, oh no, the Polymarket ran out of food. Oh, and everybody's like, oh, see, communism doesn't work. But there's just this brilliant thing by Polymarket. So they put up this mock-up here, and it's a bar, and in the bar there's TV screens everywhere. And it's it's got the news, it's got X up there, it's got stock charts, it's got all sorts of all the stuff you need to monitor the situation, which again, a brilliant sort of tip of the hat to the terminally online who now consider their full-time job to be monitoring the situation. The grand opening is this Friday, guys.
Yeah, I know. We might have to get some boots on the ground and get some people in the DC area to go check this out and give us a report.
Some of the responses, some great memes. One of the memes is a guy looking at himself in the mirror, and it says, "You are not addicted to X. You are monitoring the situation."
Yes, there was I think my post about it. I don't know. My post didn't pop up under that. That's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, yours was here. I saw yours.
Okay, yeah. What did I say? I said something about the precogs.
You did your precog quote.
Yes, that's. Oh, by the way, that's part of the tactic. Is you make a post by quote posting their thing, and then you comment it into the post. That's the little trick. Also, Polymarket noticed, because guess who got a like from Polymarket, the official Polymarket account, Basil. I can now proudly say that I'm part of monitoring the situation. I am initiated into the Polymarket inner circle. I got a like from the Polymarket account, Basil.
Yeah, they liked your tweet about the controller guy from
Truman Show.
Truman Show, the
Yes.
Truman Show director with his backwards snap brim hat up in the moon controlling things.
Yes.
And you said, now register the domain to tell them we own the aliens without saying we own the aliens.
Yes.
Polymarket liked it. It
Yeah,
must
they
have been
liked
good, Guns.
Must have tickled their fancy.
Must have been good.
Must have been good. All right. So one of these days, maybe we go check out the Polymarket bar, and we lose our life savings by betting on nothing.
My prediction is that the Polymarket situation room will exist until the following Sunday night. The following Monday. Next Monday,
opening weekend, and then close by next Monday.
I think that is my that's my prediction, is on Monday morning we will see that the Polymarket situation room is closed.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
The situation has been monitored, That's all good. It's the beautiful thing about making your unofficial job monitoring the situation, is that the situation always needs monitoring, right? It's an endless job.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. Looking at time here. Yeah, we can run through a couple of these.
Make some choices here, Guns.
Sure. Okay. I wasn't exactly thrilled to talk about this, but because it is something that's out there, and we talked a little bit about it last episode, but it's the whole thing with Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu of Israel. The rumors swirling around that he has passed away, and of course he's posted a proof of life video where he's at a cafe in Jerusalem and meeting people, and his rings disappearing or whatever. He posted another video with Mike Huckabee, who allegedly visited Israel to make sure that Netanyahu was alive.
Well, Mike Huckabee lives in Israel.
Does he? Oh, I did not know that.
He's the ambassador to Israel.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. Well, he was tasked to go over and make sure that Bibi was alive. And of course, they took the opportunity to make a short film. And this is actually perfect for National Awkward Moments Day. This whole video, look, aside from like the is it real, is it not? It's the most awkward video ever, Basil. I mean, it's just, okay, let me just play it and you guys judge.
Mr. Prime Minister, I wanted you to know the president asked me to come and make sure you were okay.
Yes, Mike. Yes, I'm alive.
I checked that, and I'm happy to see that. But he wanted to make sure because, you guys get along too well.
I know, and we shake hands with 5 fingers in each hand.
You turn it up.
But
he's, the volume. Let me try to get the volume a little higher. Yeah. So he's talking. Yeah.
Wanted to make sure because, you guys get along too well.
I know, and we shake hands with 5 fingers in each hand. But I have to tell you, I'm alive, but I have this card.
Oh.
And don't read it. So it's a punch card.
Mm-hmm.
Today I raised 2 names on the punch cards, and you see how many more to go on this batch.
You know what the good news is? My name is not on the punch card.
Your name is on the list of the good guys.
Thank you.
And what the president, the U.S. forces are doing is incredible. We're very proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. And getting rid of these lunatics would like to develop nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them to every American city after wiping out Israel. They ain't going to do that. We're wiping them out.
I love it. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks. Take care.
Okay. All right.
So, of course, clip after clip of your video. And this is the thing. We had a long conversation before the show, folks, about this. I don't know how much you want to walk through, Gons, but
I really don't want that. I told you before that I don't want to walk through any of it, but
okay. We won't get into how that conversation went, but the internet obviously is responding, trying to point out in every possible way that this is a fake video, right? That he's AI, that Mike Huckabee is AI. They point out, fingers when they're shaking hands. They're pointing out his ear. They're pointing out, they're saying, yes, you're playing.
Mike Huckabee's face
when Mike
transforming.
Huckabee, no.
His
okay.
mask is swirling around.
Anybody out there who has a grandpa-aged person and short hair, watch them smile, okay? It takes all these muscles in your head to smile. When you smile, your ears move, your forehead moves, the skin on your scalp will move. That's just what happens when old guys smile, okay? But the insistence, again, back to the cardboard Ayatollah, people want this to be so true that they will go through. I think the number one proof that it's not a fake video is that they truly are so awkward and scripted, right? They're two politicians who are like, hey, we got to make a video to prove I'm alive. What? Yeah, I got to do it. Okay. Well, what do we do? Well, let's walk down this hallway and then we'll just act real natural and talk about how well the war is going and stuff like this.
Let me show you this punch card of lists of names that I'm about to eliminate. I mean, just okay. Whether it's true or not,
natural, they would have been more natural if AI made this video.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. But it is still, to me, the whole thing. Because okay, look, I've been where I stand with the whole situation with political Zionism, but the fact that he's still on the whole train of like, hey, they're gonna make nuclear weapons, which he's been saying for 30 years, and we need to blow them up, and because they want to blow us up, and then they want to blow up the U.S. and that whole narrative, man. Like, do we not learn that maybe that's not really what's going on, or do we just continue on pushing that whole narrative and it's okay? Like, I don't know, whether he's alive or not is less consequential than like, hey, this conflict is ongoing, and maybe you're right that Trump is not too happy about being in this situation because there were people that stepped down. The counterintelligence guy stepped down. That was a big deal yesterday because he's explicitly said that, oh, it's because of Israel that I cannot further continue to support the whole MAGA movement and the Trump presidency. And so the conversation in the United States about the influence of a foreign nation for our military and our political elite, that conversation has really hit the mainstream. And I think it's that part of is what we should, I guess not focus on per se, but just comment on more so, is that that conspiracy, along with all the other conspiracies, and maybe that's what's interesting, is that, I grew up, you were not allowed to say anything negative about the Jews. They were, Holocaust survivors, and anything negative, you were seen as an anti-Semite immediately. And now that whole topic is out on the table, like all these other things seem less, like the alien thing or the cancer cure, or like they seem less abrasive, like less significant than the, oh, Jews control the world narrative. I'm not saying they do. I think there are, a certain sect of individuals that represent themselves as Jewish perhaps are involved with, the principalities and powers, but they're not alone. And it's not an ethnic thing. It's a spiritual thing. So that's where we stand on it. But in terms of a political thing, I mean, I've always been very skeptical of political Zionism in general. And I have noticed their influence in America has been very powerful. And, you go back to the list of things that they may have been involved in, like the Kennedy assassination and 9/11 and the Iraq war. And you start listing all these things and you're like, yeah, you kind of, they do seem to have quite the influence when it comes to some of the things that have happened, at least some of the big tragedies in the United States. So that's really, I think, the cultural commentary on this, because whether this is actually Mike Huckabee or AI or whatever, that's kind of less significant, I think, than the actual reality of people realizing that some of that stuff may be true. The uncomfortable stuff about, who controls part of our United States government and things of that nature. So that's I don't know. That's as far as I want to go with it, because again, I don't know, man. How are we supposed to know in this hyper reality if this is actually real or not? I mean, I can point out all the different weird things going on with it, But also, I do want to point out, and as part of the conversation here, I'm seeing a lot of people pick up on this Jewish Messiah thing. And Israel 365 News reported on this with a headline, "Leading Rabbi Says Messiah Could Arrive Thursday," cites 500-year-old book naming the Strait of Hormuz as site of final war. And it says here that a respected Israeli rabbi is making a striking claim. The Messiah will be announced this Thursday, which is interesting because a couple weeks ago, there was a Bibi Netanyahu video saying, we will be here to bring in the Messiah. He's just not coming next Thursday. Maybe he meant the Thursday after that, 2 Thursdays from now, which is Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the first day of the Hebrew month.
Referring to this exact guy.
He might have been. He might have been.
You might have been responding to this fellow who says that they're announcing the
Messiah on Thursday. According to Rabbi Baruch Rosenblum, a leading rabbinical figure known throughout Israel, the timing is tied directly to one of the most strategically volatile waterways on Earth, currently the focus of the war between the U.S. and Iran, the Straits of Hormuz. Quote, God willing, Rosh Chodesh of Nisan, the beginning of the biblical calendar year, is this Thursday, and there will be an announcement, end quote, Rabbi Rosenblum declared in a lecture that has been circulating widely. Quote, the radio will broadcast from Jerusalem, and in 5 minutes, we will hear a warning. The Messiah has arrived, end quote. And he goes on a little bit here, talks about some of the stuff with the biblical references. And then it's kind of funny because he does have, he puts a condition, he puts a caveat on there. Condition. Rabbi Rosenblum placed a condition squarely on the Jewish people. Quote, victory depends on adherence to Torah and repentance. Whether Messiah comes this Thursday depends on us. Our readiness to welcome him, end quote. I mean, that's like the easiest cop out, It's like, see, you guys weren't ready. None of y'all were ready. That's why he didn't show up. Getting ready to place the blame on the people instead of himself. He connected this to the foundational covenant. Quote, every Jew knows the essence of the Torah's message. God is one, and we must love him with all of our heart and deeds. Observing the Torah ensures blessing, rain, and fruitfulness in the land. Disobedience brings exile and hardship, end quote. So there you go. I mean, this is sort of the religious fervor that's been going on, and the Jewish religious side of things, or the religious Zionism angle to all of this, because we've heard a lot about the eschatology of Islam. And of course, in America, we're hearing constantly about the eschatology, the Christian eschatology, which is more of a dispensationalist view, which is not universal to all Christians, but certain sect of believers who follow that sort of interpretation of end times prophecy. But it's very useful to the current geopolitical situation. But here we have the religious Zionists and their view of what might happen, which is, hey, Messiah going to show up tomorrow, Basil, which might be the Antichrist. So
yeah, it's like literally tomorrow. That's nice. We don't have to wait too long.
Yeah. And tied to this is the story that is getting a lot of Western Christians up in arms. And that's another story coming from dailymail.co.uk. Site of Jesus's crucifixion forced to shut down for Holy Week, an unprecedented move tied to biblical prophecies of the Antichrist. And it says here, the closure of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre during Holy Week has sparked fears that biblical prophecies about the Antichrist may be coming to pass. Constructed under Roman Emperor Constantine, the nearly 1,700-year-old shrine is believed to mark the site of Jesus' crucifixion, burial, and resurrection. Thousands of worshipers and tourists visit the site during Holy Week, with attendance for the Holy Saturday Holy Fire ceremony often reaching 10,000 in peak years. Iranian ballistic missiles have exploded over Jerusalem, scattering debris across multiple areas of the city, including near the city of the Holy Sepulchre, forcing Israeli officials to close the sacred doors indefinitely, along with access to all holy sites in the region. While the unprecedented move was a result of war, some observers have pointed to passages in the book of Revelation that describe a period of upheaval and persecution in the final days, specifically where also their Lord was crucified. In Revelation 11, the text describes 2 prophetic witnesses who preach in the holy city before being killed by a powerful figure known as the Beast, often interpreted by some as the Antichrist. The The Antichrist figure is in Christian theology believed to be a powerful deceiver who will oppose Jesus Christ and lead many away from the faith before the end of the world. The passage also speaks of the city being trampled for a set period alongside widespread fear, destruction, and divine. Wow, I mean, this is like 1,000-foot view breadcrumbs. You're not really getting the meat of the situation, but obviously they're not going to in the Daily Mail. So there you go, Basil. What are your thoughts? Do you think the Antichrist is going to walk out of the Holy Sepulchre? Is this why they're setting it up? They're getting ready for the Antichrist or not the Antichrist, I'm sorry, the Moshiach to arrive and, with the UFO.
Yeah, we'll know tomorrow. I did not know that the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was allegedly where he was crucified and where he was buried.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought it
sort
was
of
just the tomb, but it looks like the tomb and Golgotha are really close together.
they're very close. Yeah, yes.
I did not know that. Well, makes it easier to, you don't have to carry the
Shut it
guy
all
too
down.
far to lay him down.
Yeah.
Not a lot of travel. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I've never been to this spot, but now I'm interested in it. And
Well, you can't go right now because if you do, you'll get killed by Iranian missiles, is what they're saying.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's a building inside of a building. Look at that. I like it when they build buildings inside of other buildings. I think that's
the way to do it. So we do it.
All right. Well, we got to get you out of your guns. So I want to make sure to thank the rest of our producers.
No, we got to do this flippy update.
No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. It's 3:00. You got to go. Look at this, folks. Where would Gons be if it weren't from me? I don't understand. He's the one with all the time limits.
I know.
And somehow I'm responsible for making sure he doesn't get in trouble. All right, we got a couple of producers. We'll save the dancing robots for next episode.
All right, well, we'll start with it next episode.
Okay.
Because the googly eye reference is just too much. I have to make a reference to it. So
yeah, robots love googly eyes. We know this.
I know.
All right, we got some producers came in under the executive producer amount. Just a couple here, but of course we have our producer Rebecca T coming in. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. We always forget to mention this. If you want to produce the show, if you want to support the show, go to canarycry.support. Rebecca T comes in for 3333.
And
Illuminatus is on a 7-episode streak. Thank you, Rebecca.
Is she?
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Keeping it going. We also have producer. What?
I was going to say, I thought there was a streak for 7, but there's not. There's a streak for 9.
No, 9's the next one.
Yep.
Next up, we got producer J Miz.
J Miz
comes in and signs up for the supply drop for 3333. Thank you very much, J Miz. Everybody should go check out the supply drop at canarycrysupplydrop.com, where if you've been getting value, you want to continue to get value, you want to keep the show alive, you can go to canarycrysupplydrop.com, sign up to support us there on a regular basis, and then once a quarter we'll be sending you a sweet package filled with a bunch of custom Canary Cry gear, and everybody loves it. It's one of the main reasons we're able to stay alive, Gon. So thank you very much for our supply droppers and J Miz.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for the producers of today's show. Now we are streakers who come in under $7.77. Just so you know, if you support the show for $7.77 or more, you're entitled to have a note read on the show if you'd like. Under $7.77, no note, but we do thank you on Wednesdays, mostly because the people who come in under $7.77 are keeping their big old streaks going. And those streakers include Mrs. Tinfoil Hat Man with 172 episodes in a row.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Thank you, Mrs. Tinfoil Hat Man.
Veronica D on a 561 episode streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Ladies on a streak.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 606 episodes in a row.
Ooh, 606.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 611 episode streak.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thank you very much to our streakers. Junk Food Trooper in the YouTube chat says, loving the show, watching live from Nottingham, UK.
Hey.
It's got to be the middle of the night over in Nottingham, UK. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for nodding off, not nodding off.
We had a piece of art come in from Ionon.
Yes.
Let's get that up on the
Sewer
screen.
surveillance.
This was an excellent piece. The Ionon was mentioning, sometimes it takes me a while to go from inception to creating the art.
Yeah.
And they say that they always have so many like deep cuts and inside jokes from the show that they hope it lands. This one does land. You've got two scientists with long, scraggly hair. They've got a manhole cover open on the sidewalk. They've got some test tubes. They're testing whatever's going on down there in the sewer. It says sewer surveillance up top. And one of the scientists says, "What say you?" And then a dialogue bubble from down in the sewer says, "Smells like Nantucket blend." And this was very funny in reference to the sewer surveillance story from a couple of weeks ago, where the Nantucket residents, the rich East Coast rich people area, they found just an enormous amount of cocaine in the sewer. And, I didn't want to give away the game, but it is true. That's how you tell, what's going on in the economy. You got to check which drug is going through the sewers in Nantucket. That's how you can tell. You should base markets on this.
Yeah, it's true. Great job, Anon. Appreciate it. As always, great. I like the samples, the little vials with the samples.
Yeah.
There's
And
one spilled over.
thank you very much for continuing to put your talent to work here, Anon, and anybody who wants to. And if you've never made art before, this is a great way to get yourself off the demooch list for Toph's challenge. You just make some art, make it for the show, and go to canarycry.art, and you can upload the art there. If you want to volunteer your time or skills or anything to the show, you can go to canarycry.support, scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll see a little form you can fill out. Fill out that form, and you'll get put on the list so we can reach out to you about how you want to help us out. And if you do those things, you will be put on the in the drawing, I guess, for free supply drops from executive producer Toph. There you go. And don't forget, if you're a Canary Cry supply dropper or a T-shirt council member, executive producer Toph is challenging you to step it up if the Lord is calling you to do that. So thank you very much.
Yep.
Of course, one example of helping us out with one's time is our time stampers.
Ooh, I was not ready for this one.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Yeah, I think Jade Bouncerson was all over it last episode 923. Thank you, Jade.
Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson, for doing the timestamps. Very important job, and we appreciate it very much. Jam heads up the Telegram channel, Adam42. Make sure the Discord channel keeps rolling. And if you want to join a community of other Canarians making it through this life together, you can join the Telegram channel or the Discord channel by going to canarycry.party. You'll find the invite links there to join in. They get a Joe for the feedback. They get a Clank for clanking. And of course, Sir Ike for doing all the things you do for us. And you, dear listener, yes, you in the chat right now, go share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with anybody who is interested, I don't know, in the alien solution, the final solution, someone might even call it, to stop all wars by disabling all weapons at the behest of, I don't know, Iran or Donald Trump. I kind of lost track of what I'm saying. Share the show. We call it
everybody.
Cages. Go rattle some cages. All you got to do is walk right up to them, grab by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Guns, you got any last words?
Make sure everyone tunes into Canary Cry Clubhouse tomorrow, which is National Poultry Day. I don't know, is that going to offend some people?
Oh, yeah. And a big announcement today. Meta announces they'll be shutting down the metaverse.
Oh, I saw that.
After pouring $80 billion into the project. They're shutting down the metaverse.
How come Zuckerberg's not giving us, he should give us a little something,
Something.
It's
80
$80 billion.
Certainly got it in the budget. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside.
Who should we tickle next? I'm not a lizard.
This is the way.
We're all gonna die.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
And a resounding baka flies through the air across the world. Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Rattle their cage. They have a lot of people screaming randomly. Why don't you shout? It will be their call out. They have a lot of people screaming randomly.
Go ahead and
Why don't you shout?
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
They take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.